Good news if you're cruising soon, several cruise lines are offering multiple ways to make it easier to complete the required testing. If you've ever thought about cruising with Disney Cruise Line, but don't want young kids soaking up all the Disney magic, clear your calendar for this November. But first, cruising is coming back to some ports, and that may make it easier for many cruisers, including first-timers. Freshly returned from Royal Caribbean's Odyssey of the Seas, I'm Bill with this week's episode of Billy's Cruise Takes. Cruising may be back in some states, but others have yet to see ships return. Things are looking up though for smaller ports. Crystal Symphony started a series of Bermuda cruises from Boston on August 23rd. America Cruise Line's Independence begins sailing from Charleston on November 13th, and Carnival Glory will sail from New Orleans on September 19th. This is great news for many who are keen to cruise but looking for regional ports that can more easily be reached by car. In fact, the past years have seen cruise lines sending more ships and even newer ships to what have long been somewhat secondary embarkation ports. 9 of 10 people who cruise once will cruise again, so getting someone to take their first cruise is important for the industry, and that's made all the easier by removing the additional cost and friction of air travel to ports, especially right now. Further, some cruisers may be ready to cruise but aren't comfortable with traveling to Florida, where COVID infection rates are significantly higher than much of the United States. Pre-cruise testing just got easier for most cruisers, with Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Princess, Holland America, Celebrity, and other lines now allowing for the use of proctored home tests. This means that cruisers can now purchase Abbott BinaxNOW COVID-19 AG card tests online and perform the test at home in front of a webcam, demonstrating the testing process and showing ID to a certified observer. Prices for these tests range from $70 for 2 tests to $150 for 6 tests. If you're cruising soon on a line which requires you to provide a negative COVID test result at the terminal, that test may have to be taken within 2 days of embarkation rather than the 3 days which had been common up to recently. With many people having difficulty getting test results in time for their cruise, it seems like a really good idea to have some of these tests on hand, at least as a backup plan. That's my plan, in fact. Keep in mind that not all cruise lines are accepting these tests. Some still require that you go to some sort of testing facility. And you may want to purchase a few more than you need if you're going to use these in case the test is inconclusive or you make a mistake during the test process. You'll need to pay for the test out of pocket as well, but your insurance provider may reimburse you for the costs. Of course, other testing methods are available as well, with Carnival Corporation this week announcing that they're partnering with Quest Diagnostics to make it easier for guests to access testing services. Now, some cruise lines like Fred Olsen, Norwegian Cruise Lines, and Virgin Voyages have been providing testing at the port of embarkation while still encouraging guests to seek an additional test in the days leading up to their cruises. A Disney Cruise Line experience without young children? It seems that way, at least for one Disney Cruise Line cruise. The Family Focus Cruise Line has announced that Disney Wonders 14-night San Diego to Galveston cruise will sail with fully vaccinated guests only. Because generally speaking, only persons 12 and older can be vaccinated, then, depending on any changes in the coming months, it would seem only those 12 and older will be sailing on the cruise, which stops in Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, Cartagena, and Cozumel. This vaccination requirement is only for this sailing though, and shorter sailings, including the newly announced 7-night cruises on Disney Fantasy starting October 9th, allow unvaccinated persons under 12 years old, of course with additional testing. Now, Disney hasn't announced the reason for the Panama Canal sailing requirements. It is a very long time to have unvaccinated children on the ship without the full gamut of kids programs. The increased risk of spread with the potential for reduced guest satisfaction would seem like good reasons for this change. There is a lot happening in cruising in the coming weeks, including Scarlet Lady's first cruise from her home port of Miami, more than a half dozen additional ships returning to South Florida, and so much more. You can find cruise news and information, including the live blog from our cruise last week on the new Odyssey of the Seas, over at cruisehabit.com. In fact, on our deals page, we're also highlighting some great deals on short Royal Caribbean cruises, so check that out while you are there. You can follow us on social media too. Just search Cruise Habit on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And of course, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We look forward to talking ship with you again real soon.